Another reason to not check social media would be this story right here. A Pennsylvania man being charged with beheading his father and posting the video online. This seems like a very balanced individual just from the headline, does it not, Stacey?
It's extremely disturbing. I've been reading about this story, and there's some details that are not in the story that we're going to do that I just saw that were posted. And I can go into those or not, as it were, because it's horribly graphic and awful.
We'll go into it, I mean, in a way that's not just there for being gross, but trigger warning. This is a disturbing one to talk about. It's a case that really has shocked Middletown Township in Bucks County. This is, where is this? Where's Bucks County? Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is where this is all going on. A 32-year-old man, Justin Mohn, when he got fired from the porn industry, has been charged with first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse in connection with the gruesome murder of his father, Michael Mohn. The incident, which involved a shocking YouTube video, unfolded just the other night. Police were alerted to a scene around 7 o'clock when the victim's wife returned home and discovered her husband's decapitated body covered in blood in their home on Upper Orchard Drive. The situation took a sinister turn when officers found the victim's head in a plastic bag inside a kitchen pot placed on the first floor bedroom. Police affidavit revealed the presence of bloody rubber gloves, a machete, and a large kitchen knife in the bathtub on the second floor. Middletown Police Captain Pete Feeney commented on the unusual nature of the crime, stating, "As far as the crime itself, it's not something we typically see here." In addition to the horrific scene at the crime, Justin Mohn posted a disturbing 14-minute YouTube video titled "Mohn's Militia: Call to Arms for American Patriots." In the video, he held up his father's severed head, identified him by name, and expressed extremist views, including threats against federal agencies. He referred to himself as a militia leader and accused his father, a federal employee for 20 years, of being a traitor to the country. Mohn also discussed President Joe Biden in the video. Here's the problem with this video. It managed to get about 5,000 views before it was removed from the platform. There's plenty of evidence to process. I'm sure they'll be reviewing that video. Following the manhunt, police were able to track Justin Mohn by pinging his cell phone to Fort Indiana Gap in Lebanon County, approximately 100 miles from the crime scene. Local police put the area on lockdown, and they later located the Toyota Corolla he'd been driving abandoned outside the Indian Town Gap National Guard training facility. Mohn was apprehended on the base property, reportedly in possession of a firearm, but he was arrested without incident around 9:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Middleton Township Police Chief Joseph Bartolia reassured the community, saying, "I think the neighborhood can rest easy because I think they were a little uneasy for a while before they knew where the person of interest was." Justin Mohn also faces a weapons possession charge, was arraigned early Wednesday, and is being held without bail. His hearing is scheduled for February 8th. The Bucks County District Attorney Office did not provide a public comment about the case. There was no attorney listed for Mohn in court records, and attempts to seek comment on his behalf were unsuccessful. I can't imagine, who knows what he's going to plead, but obviously this looks pretty... You got video of you holding your dead father's head up while you go on a political rant. I'm going to guess you're probably guilty.
I'm guessing, yeah. And, the thing that just strikes me, okay, so you don't like the president. You know what? You can vote. You didn't need to go to this length to make your point. What the fuck? Vote.
Well, I mean, obviously, this is someone probably fairly mentally ill and doesn't have, I don't know, maybe try to get treatment. Maybe, I don't know what the story is, but obviously untreated without a doubt. And then, when you're an adult and you're a father here and he became the victim, I can only imagine what kind of headache and hell that this man might have been going through as a father, knowing that his son was so far out there. and not knowing or, accepting the possibility that maybe they were capable or are capable of doing something like this. When people get so far gone on some of these beliefs that they have, and they treat them as fact, and they find those echo chambers out there online that just keep reinforcing and repeating the same nonsense over and over and over of distorted and delusional thinking. You get this sort of result, and it's shocking. But unfortunately, I think, we see more and more of it. I mean, I'm assuming this person also had some sort of a complex, thinking that they were rather important, having being the head of the militia, if you will, even though there's no militia that he's the head of.
Well, and, I also want to share something else too. So when this airs, we will have just been a couple hours away from when I think it was the heads of social media were appearing, I think in the Senate, Capitol Hill. I forget where it was. But Zuckerberg, basically all the bigwigs, they had to testify to the Senate Judiciary Committee at a hearing focused on children's safety online. Online presence has been a wonderful thing. It's allowed people to get in touch with people that they've known. Family members can stay in touch, but it's also a bit out of control. And that's what this hearing was about. And this is just an absolute, I guess, a testament to it's out of control. People can post whatever they want, which is, we do have, freedom to post what we want, but it also needs to be within some guidelines. That this man with his severed father's head had a video that was 14 minutes long that stayed up and got 5,000 views. 5,000 people saw this. Yeah,
I mean, the algorithms of detecting what is appropriate and inappropriate aren't exactly up to, I think, par of what they should be. I mean, considering I could post something of like my cat and then it'll get like no views. Right. And then you post something of substance of a story and it may get a ton of views, and you post another thing on the same story or case and then you can get next to nothing. It's very random and very off in terms of its accuracy of determining what's okay and what's not okay out there. I don't know what the answer is to that other than fix it. I know that it's impossible to have enough people, I think, on staff to review every single video that gets posted up there. There are departments that do that, and it's a very high turnover rate and actually a very high suicide rate as well of individuals who work in those places, because they get to see this sort of shit all the time before a lot of us see it. This one obviously got through the cracks, but there's, I think, far more of this that gets out there, that it's attempted to go out there than we're even aware of. But there's, we get real upset and we go after the things once, this is the crescendo. This is the big thing that happened. He killed his father and he held his head up on camera. But we don't do a whole lot about, well, what was the material? What was the thinking? What was the toxic voices that this person was surrounding themselves with that built up their deflated, delusional ego to believe that this was the right course of action? Because I can guarantee there's a ton of material out there you can binge away on all you want and distort your already distorted mind into, being the shape you want it to be to complement your fucked up way of thinking on anything.
100%.
No matter what your views are, no matter what your feelings are on any topic, you will find a group of people who will find a way of reinforcing your distortions. And there's good things out there too that can reinforce healthy and positive thoughts as well. But the problem is the way these algorithms work is it just keeps feeding you what it thinks is going to be candy to your brain. So if you're distorting yourself and you're thinking all these things and it knows you like that, it's going to just keep giving you that shit. If you're surrounding yourself with healthy thoughts, you're surrounding yourself with influences from people in a positive way, it'll keep giving you that too. Unfortunately, it doesn't leave a lot of room for objectivity or helping someone get out of a dark place. The way it's set up now is it just keeps feeding you whatever bullshit you want to believe, good or bad.
It really does. The other day I looked up those lights that you use in the winter when you're depressed because you haven't seen any sunshine. And then I started getting all kinds of different things about, and granted, some of it was for like mental stability and, seeking counseling and things like that. But some of it was pretty dark and talking about suicide. And I'm like, why am I getting this?
Yeah.
Why? Well, it's because I looked up depression, seasonal affective disorder. I looked that up, and then I'm starting to see things talking about suicide. And that's not something that I normally look up. So does that happen to everybody? I imagine it does.
It happens to any, whatever you are looking up, it will continue to feed you with more of that same thought. And it, kind of variates a little bit. And then if you keep going down those variant roads, it'll keep feeding you that. So if you're going down an unhealthy path or unhealthy way of thinking, but you want more reinforcement, that's what it's going to do, because it wants you to stay on the app. It wants you to keep clicking. It wants you to keep going. And it doesn't give a shit if it just keeps digging your mind into a place of oblivion or utter delusion. It doesn't care. It's an algorithm. But that's where individuals need to be strong enough to stand up and say, I don't think this is good. This is probably not right for me. But unfortunately, when you're in a really dark place, you don't necessarily have those capabilities.
Right.
And when you have somebody just keeps feeding you delusions and reinforcing your own delusions, you get to really weird, bizarre places. And I'm guessing, that may have been how this person got there. How do you fix it? I don't know. I do not know the answer to that. There is certainly freedom of speech, and people in our country are able to say what they want. But we have such a system of manipulating our minds going on right now that is far more damaging than I think anybody ever thought possible, or even today are aware of the impact that it's having, or that it is even happening. That we get down some of these roads so far that there's no coming back. And for some of these people, obviously, truly, there is no coming back.
Yeah, we're in a really dangerous spot in this world. I was just seeing that Elmo on Twitter, Elmo, Red Elmo.
Sesame Street Elmo, yeah.
Yeah, weird transition here, but it makes sense. He asked I'm calling it Twitter because I'm not calling it X, but he asked on Twitter, hey, just checking in, how's everybody doing? The responses, like 17,000 people responded, and they weren't good. It was like, Elmo, I'm really in trouble. I'm not doing well. So it was basically like, wow, glad we asked. Mental health is health. Here's some links for you. Sesame Street just got into, that's where we are. We need to do better and change things because we can't continue this way.
We need more Elmos.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.